Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Ginger Hour, the show where I talk about things that I want to talk about. Now, I think last week I said, and the guest that I had on said that we were gonna do the 2016 releases, look through the list and talk about that. But that's not happening this week, so uh, you stuck with me, and I'm going to do some other stuff. I am going to look at the artifact weapons from the forthcoming World of Warcraft expansion, Legion, and I'm going to look at the story behind them because it's a story for all of them, and I'm going to read that for you, and I'm going to tell you what I think about the design and the aesthetic and how it fits with the fantasy of the class and spec and whatever. Because I feel like that would be a neat thing. This is so there were videos like this released a long time ago, so I'm way late to the party, but I felt like this was something that I wanted to do. So I'm gonna look up see if I can find the actual site for the thing. Because there's a page with all of the artifacts. No, that's not true. It's a page with all of the classes and links to the pages with all of the artifacts and the overview for the class itself, how it's going to look in the Legion. I think I found it. It's just loading right now. See if we can have it. Maybe there we go. Yep, found it. Okay. Cool. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 classes to go through. 3 specs for each, plus 1 for the druid, making it. I am terrible with math. Is it 37 weapons? It might take a while, but I'm gonna do it because fuck it. So we're starting with the Death Knight because I'm just gonna go straight down the list. Death Knight. Oh, why did my everything scale down? That's better. Let's see if everything else looks fine. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. I don't know why BattleNet was sort of zoomed out. Okay, let's see. So there's this. I'm going to try to see if I can find the pictures to put up on the weapons on the screen when I'm talking about them, because that would be neat. But if I can't find good pictures or whatever, I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually gonna see if I can find this first one. There's a base picture. There is a base picture for that. Is this the one for the next one? That's what it's called, Frost Reaper even. Damn it. I thought it was Faux Reaper. Frost Reaper. If I Google that, is there a good picture? I mean, there's that one, I guess. I'm going to look, see if that's better. I'm gonna look, see if I can find them. Maybe I'll just do it for the ones that I can find. I'm not sure I'm gonna do it, but I'm just gonna get into it. First up, we have the Blood Death Knight, and they are going to be using a two-handed axe called Maw of the Damned. Excuse me, I have to cough. And the background stories thing says an ancient legion axe. Oh, that's not true at all. I mean, it is true, but intonation. Um, an ancient legion axe forged from a metal that drains its victims' vital energies. The soul of its original creator is trapped within and cursed with unending hunger. For more than 1,000 years, an old and cunning Moarg has used the axe to butcher uprisings and consume the life force of the Legion's foes. Over its long and infamous history, the weapon has made its demonic bearer extraordinarily powerful. And I think that, yeah, I could see a Blood Death Knight wielding a weapon like that. Like draining like life energies. I haven't played a Blood Death Knight very much, so I'm not completely sure. I'm not quite like I don't know how they tank exactly, but like stealing life energies, it just feels like a very Death Knight thing to do to me, and like it's a cool sort of axe. It's like um, what are the words that I'm looking for? Um, like it was crafted by a member of the Burning Legion, like a great demon sort of person. It would have to be great, I'm assuming, because like to create an axe like this, you know, and like the axe itself being powerful enough to actually consume and trap that creator's soul. I'm just assuming that's how it happened, but I don't know. I do think that's really cool. Like I don't really go for the undead sort of like Death Knight, Necromancer, whatever classes, but I really like the fantasy of them, and I really like them when they are very when they are well made. That was way too difficult to say. Um, but I really like that, like it when they're well made, and I appreciate them a lot. But I don't play them. Not a whole lot anyway. So I'm really interested in this. It looks very cool. It's got a nice aesthetic. Um, you can tell that a lot of design went into this axe. Um, but yeah, it's got this nice like siphoning life animation going from like the edge of the axe into the mouth on the skull of it. Like it has a skull incorporated into it. You can see if I put up a picture, but I'm not sure that I'm gonna. I'm probably gonna. Um, and it really looks really very cool. So moving on to the Frost spec, we have Icebringer and Frost Reaper, which means that in Legion you can only ever dual wield as a Frost Death Knight. You can't use two-handed weapons. And the way I understand it, like previously, you could pretty much like if you build it properly, you can do either one. But in Legion, it's just strictly dual wield. And the lore goes as follows. They actually have a subtitle. They're called Blades of the Fallen King, Prince, Blades of the Fallen Prince as well. Um, crafted by the Burning Legion to corrupt the world of Azeroth, the soul-sealing runeblade Frostmourne was shattered by Ashbringer atop Icecrown Citadel. Countless souls were freed from the broken blade, but others were not so fortunate. Today the shards of Frostmourne can be recrafted and infused with even more power. However, the spirits still trapped within must first be subdued and bent to the wielder's will. Now this weapon I'm not sure about because Frostmourne is, it's like the people said on like I think it was at BlizzCon when they announced this weapon. It's like Frostmourne was the ultimate Frost Death Knight weapon, But it is also, like they say here, it was created to subdue Azeroth, corrupt it. And I just don't see why, like, Varian, or I'm trying to remember his name. I'm so sorry. What's the troll's name? His name is Vol'jin. Why Varian and Vol'jin would be okay with their subjects just using like Frostmourne like this, like at all? Why would they not just want Frostmourne to be buried away forever? Um, that's just a thought that I have. Like I don't understand it. Other than that, yes, Frostmourne is the best top whatever um, Frost Death Knight weapon. You know, it's the ultimate weapon for any Death Knight. You know, especially Frost. Like if you see what Arthas, I'm sorry, does with it in like the trailer at least, like it's got a lot. There's a lot of power in that sword, and just reforging it like this just seems reckless to me. I don't know. Like yeah, I don't. I'm not a whole fan. I mean, it fits the fantasy, but I don't understand how it fits together with the story. Like, why are the leaders okay with this? Stuff like that. Other than that, it's like design wise, I mean, it's alright. It looks like a pretty basic sword. It's got some nice visual effects on it, like gleam and shit. I don't know if it's gleam. It's got some sort of thing that looks like a lighting effect on the page here. Um, I mean, they're not bad looking by any means. It's just actually when I look at it now, it kind of looks like there's a metal sword that's encased in ice, which is cool for a Frost Death Knight. I'm not gonna lie, that is very cool aesthetically. But other than that, it just looks like basic, swords. As far as you know, swords can be basic in World of Warcraft. Um, Moving on to Unholy, we have the weapon. It is a great sword, 200 sword, with I think the best name out of all of these things. It's called Apocalypse, and that is just damn. I love that name as a like for a Death Knight weapon. I think that's fantastic, and I'm going to read through it real quick. Vampiric demons known as the Nathrezim forged this ancient sword, which brings with it violence, plagues, and death. Apocalypse soon earned a horrific reputation in the hands of a Tirisgard mage who couldn't control its destructive energies. In time, the sword was seized by the malevolent Dark Riders, servants of Medivh, the corrupted guardian of Tirisfal. They hid the blade in the catacombs under his home, the Tower of Karazhan. Okay, so this blade, as well as all of the others, were like originally they were made by and for the Burning Legion, you know. Um, and you know that's cool, but I'm not sure that every Death Knight weapon had to be like made for and by the Legion. I think if they had spread that sort of story and source out like over the classes, that would be fine, and maybe have a different backstory to these weapons. Um, but still, as it is, it fits. Um, I like that there's a magic sword that brings like plagues and death because that's what, to me, Unholy Death Knights are all about. And I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about that. This is one of the as well as the first weapon, the Maw of the Damned. That's completely new to the lore as far as I know. Frostborn we know about. We've known about that since Warcraft 3. Apocalypse is also completely new to the World of Warcraft. I was supposed to say like the world of the Warcraft universe, but then I remember after I said it like the World of Warcraft is actually the game. Shit. Okay. um, Other than that, aesthetically, I think it looks really good. I oftentimes really appreciate great swords in games because they tend to look really cool, and this one does. Um, Looks like it has a double-edged, like an edge of both sides, double-edged. It's got a nice knife. Yes. Um, a nice looking crossguard. I think that's the word anyway. Um, a cool looking but probably very impractical like shape to it, which I love in games. And it's got these rooms on it which are like glow green, and there's like visual effects around there, which is really cool. I like this weapon a lot. I'm going to look real quick if I can find any variants on like picture search or image search, whatever. Yes, that was right. Apocalypse. WoW artifact. Whatever. Pictures. See if I can. There we go. Base sword. That's the master grade. Yeah, like overall, like every single one of the skins for it look really cool. Really cool. So moving on to the Demon Hunter, we only have 2 specs, so I miscounted very much. There were still only 36 specs to go through. First of all, we have the Havoc spec, where the weapons are called the Twin Blades of the Deceiver. These glaives belong to the former Demon Hunter Veridis Felsoul, once a member of the Illidari and a sworn enemy of the Burning Legion. He was slain at the Black Temple. I'm guessing he was a boss then. It was a long time ago since I played the Black Temple. After the Legion's leader killed Jaden, revived him in the Twisting Nether, Veridis surrendered to the demon within him, forsaking his mortality in the process. He and his glaives were infused with great power by Kil'jaeden's Eredar allies. Alright, so here we have another thing. Like, a lot of these weapons are going to be like, oh, it's magic and it's infused with power. But a lot of them, it's just like, this famous person used to use this weapon, And this weapon is actually both, because, as I just said, Veridis Felsoul used it and it's infused with great power by Kil'jaeden's Eredar. That's fine. I don't know too much about like the Demon Hunter lore, but I think they're cool. I think they look neat. I really like them. I'm probably gonna play one. Not sure how much. I'm not actually sure what I'm gonna play in Legion when it comes out, but I'll figure it out. Really like it. Aesthetically, it looks like Warglaives. Let me compare them to the Warglaives of Asenath. Let's see, because those are the Warglaives that we all know and recognize. Like when we think Warglaive, we're thinking of the glaive of Asenath, So it's a bit smaller actually. It's probably as long, but it's not as wide, if you know what I mean. And it's got, similar sized handguards, and it's got this sort of purplish smoke demony thing coming off of it. It looks alright. I mean, it's nothing special really. And honestly, the master quote-unquote form for this just looks ridiculous. Those horns would be no sense. Nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. Moving on to the Vengeance spec, we have the Eldrachi Warblades. In ages past, the Dark Titan Sargeras offered the mighty Eldrachi people a place in his burning legion. But the Eldrachi proved incorruptible. They slew innumerable demons before their race was wiped out. Sargeras personally killed their greatest champion and seized his weapons. Much later, a demon hunter willingly became the servant of Sargeras' lieutenant Kil'jaeden. Are Kil'jaeden in both of these stories? That could be a thing maybe in Legion, I don't know. Like Kil'jaeden showing up like, I know that weapon. I don't know how Kil'jaeden sounds, probably not like that. Please, Kil'jaeden bestowed the Warglaives on her, that is the demon hunter, that she might wield a portion of the Eldrachi's bygone might, and devastate the mortals of Azeroth with it. So these weapons were not forged by the Legion, they were forged by a race powerful enough to actually stand against the Legion for a sizable amount of time, and that's really impressive. Like Sargeras had to physically come there and kill their strongest fighter alone, by himself. Not by himself, just himself. Speaking of tough guys, And I just think I think that's really cool. Like there's this alien race that we don't know about and we haven't heard of them before because they are extinct, and that they were actually powerful enough to stand against the Legion. I just think, like as a concept, that's really really cool to me. Um, Aesthetically, they're a lot different than the warglaves we've seen like around. Like the when we think warglaive, we think the like you hold it and then from the sides of your hand there are giant blades. You know, these warglaves are like they look like they're inspired by this one weapon from ancient times, East Asia area. I can't remember what they're called. Um, I'm just terrible. I'm gonna look this up real quick because I know if I see the name, I'm gonna recognize it immediately. It's not hand or fist. It might be actually. It's not any of these. It's not a sword. It's not bladed. Axe-like. It's not axe. It's trauma weapon. Club. Possibly. Just looking through the trauma weapons, just like frying pan improvised. I really like that. It's not that. Is it this? Yes, a tonfa. Okinawan weapon. As you don't know, it's like there's a stick part but that you hold, and then from the stick there is another stick going out in a 90-degree angle along your forearm, basically. And that's how this warglaive is designed, and it looks really cool. And like, I want to play Vengeance simply because of this really cool weapon, but I don't want to tank in this expansion. You know, like maybe I'll have like like tanking as an off spec on my Demon Hunter, like to tank dungeons and shit. But I don't actually want to tank raids. I don't at all. If I tank raids, I want to have another tank that knows how to do it, and I want us to like be in voice conversation, like contact at all times, and like do this, cool, I'ma do it, and then I'ma do the thing, you know, because I don't know how it works, and I can't cooperate and work together with someone I can't talk to, you know. But I might pick that up as that's the reason I want to play DPS in Legion actually, because I think I tired myself out on healing in Mist of Pandaria, and I didn't agree with the healing that I did. Like I played a Resto Druid all throughout MoP, and I didn't really agree with the Resto Druid um, in Warlords because I didn't really understand the changes, I guess. So I'm looking to deal some damage in the next expansion. So I don't know. I'm hesitant about Vengeance. I'm just the weapons just look so cool. I really like that design of them. They got like nice details, like the curve of the blades look great. Like in general, it's a very very pretty sword to look at. Moving on to the druids, I have 4 ones. Starting with balance, we have the Scythe of a Loon. I actually only learned to like actually pronounce the word scythe properly like a year or two ago. I learned it from watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that I really like. You should all watch it. Anyway, this mystical artifact, I'm gonna see if I can lock this chair so it won't creak. This mystical artifact was created millennia ago from the staff of a loon and a fang from the wolf demigod Goldrin. The Scythe of a Loon carries a long and unsettling history for druids. Those who are not careful enough can easily be overwhelmed by Goldrin's spirit, which infuses the scythe. Tied to the origin of the Worgen on Azeroth, The scythe is said to possess untold lunar power for the druid with balance enough to keep control. And this is perfect because, as the spec suggests, it's all about balance. It's all about balancing the lunar power with the nature-based stuff, like a gross generalization, wrath versus the other spell that I can't remember the name of. I used to play a balance druid. Fuck. It's not Sunbeam. It's whatever. There are spells like empowered by the back and forth of the whatever. That's how balanced druids work. If you're interested, or if you play, If you're interested, look it up. I'm not gonna remember it. I think it's really cool, the concept of balanced druids, keeping that balance and having like really having having a new I need to keep this balance or I'm gonna go all ham and shit. And if you keep that balance, this staff or this scythe is literally a staff that was used by the night elf goddess, and like a fang from Goldrin, and actual godlike beings had something to do with the creation of this weapon, parts of godlike beings' bodies are in this weapon. That's really cool. So for a night elf druid, this weapon is going to be a huge deal to find. Just finding the staff of a loon would be a massive thing. In itself, but being able to use it, to infuse your druidic powers into the staff and actually project them out to do whatever it is you do, like cast your spells and shit. So cool. I really like that. Aesthetically, it's really very pleasing. It's very druidic, for lack of a better word. It's got a wooden staff, gently curved, no tree is perfectly straight. Gently curved. It's got a nice handle looking thing, from what I can see here. The blade, beautiful, curved, simple. There's nothing special here. Just really, really pretty. And just behind the blade on the top of the scythe is a moon, which looks kind of like the quote-unquote hologram thing behind Tyrande in Heroes of the Storm. It looks really, really good. I really like this scythe. I really do. Moving on to the feral spec. I'm really excited that the cat form is going to get updates and stuff in this expansion because it was needed, and the new one, if I'm not mistaken, watching the VODs from BlizzCon, look really good. Oh. Sorry, I yawn. So the feral spec gets the Fang of Ashamain. The massive Grey Panther Ashamain, one of the first wild gods, was one of many to answer the call of the demigod Cenarius and defend the world of Azeroth during the War of the Ancients, way long ago. She fell in battle against the Legion, but saved countless lives in the process. A great shrine was built in her honor in Val Shara, and her fangs were adorned and put on display there. It is said that they still carry much of her power. Okay, first of all, imagine this. Imagine you're a person fighting in the War of the Ancients, Imagine that, just for a second. And imagine you're mid-battle, You're fighting the Legion. Maybe you're taking hits. Maybe you're winning. I don't know. But then the wild god Ashamain shows up and she kicks the Legion's butt. for a while. She dies, but she takes a lot of the demons out, and she sort of turns the battle to your favor, and you kill them all. You kill all the demons there, and maybe they even have to retreat. I don't know. But she dies. So you build her a shrine, and then you, instead of just burying Ashermain, like as she, you actually remove her fangs from her mouth and adorn the shrine with them. What's the thought process here? Like, how did you come up to, like, oh, this god saved our lives and we should totally honor her by building this shrine, but let's remove her teeth. Like, how do you even, I don't know, guys, come on. Um Aesthetically, visually, when in, like, quote unquote human form, for lack of a better word, when you're not in cat form, like base form, they look like daggers. They're daggers. They look really cool. Very fantasy. They've got this, like, this edge, and then there's sort of a tuck in, for lack of a better word, and then there's a straight bit, and then comes the handle, and on the top is just a curve to the tip. Looks really cool. It's got some runes inlaid, it looks like, and some, like, trinkets hanging off it. Very druidy, I would say. When in cat form, your fangs get longer. I think, I don't know, maybe there's other stuff as well. Legion feral cat form. No, why are there no pictures? Images. Legion feral cat form. I think actually you maybe get some armor and maybe something, I don't know, as well. That's what it looks like from the pictures. And actually, like, here on the announcement, I found pictures from the actual PowerPoint they used in the panel. They were called Fangs of the First Lightsaber. Here, they're called Fangs of Ashermain. I guess they changed it. So maybe they changed the aesthetic from here as well, because there's some other stuff here. There's, like, the mane is way longer. There's some feathers in there. There's armor on this thing. It looks really cool anyway. I really like it. Moving on to the Guardian Druid, we have the Claws of Ursoc. Ursoc is another one of the wild gods, a massive bear. I really like Ursoc. I think bears in general are very cool, overall. So let's see. Forged from Titan steel by the Titanic Watcher Keeper Freya, these claws were her gift to the great bear Ursoc, one of the wild gods. He wielded the claws in countless battles until his death during the War of the Ancients. Although his body faded away, the claws remained, and legends say a fragment of his spirit lingered within them. After wresting the claws away from Ursoc's furball followers, a band of druids took the claws to the Emerald Dream, sought out Ursoc's spirit, and returned the claws to him for safekeeping. Holy shit, do you actually go into the Emerald Dream, talk to Ursoc, and convince him to give you his claws? Because I might just play Guardian Druid for that. That excites me greatly. Maybe you can hear. But yeah, again, like, godlike being here. A godlike being used this weapon. That's really cool. I don't know enough all about Guardian Druids, so I can't really say anything, but it's very, really, very cool. In not bear form, base form, they're fist weapons, which would fit with the story, like, this was something that was crafted for the bear, so that's something that he put onto his own, like, paws and claws and whatever. and they look like they're somewhat burning. You know, a lot of the fist weapons in World of Warcraft look terrible to me, honestly, but this looks alright. It's not amazing. In bear form, however, um, like the fangs of the bear are way longer, and there's sort of these scale-like or feather-like or whatever things on like everywhere on the bear, and they glow red. I'm guessing that's just the base color. They're the variants. Um, and it sort of looks like the bear is slightly on fire. Aesthetically, at least in bear form, very impressive. For restoration, we have Ganir, the mother tree. Ganir, I'm not sure. Let's go with Gahanir. I like it. This is a single branch taken from Gahanir, the first tree, which was gifted to mortal druids by the demigod Aviana long ago. Its connection to the mystical Emerald Dream serves as a healing and stabilizing influence on the world of Azeroth. In recent times, druids have used this staff to hold back the corruption and madness of the Nightmare. As a result, satyrs within the Nightmare are desperate to see Gahanir destroyed. That's also really very cool. I'm just guessing here now, I don't know, the first tree, Gahanir, is in the Emerald Dream. I'm just guessing. Because for those of you who don't know, the Emerald Dream is sort of the blueprint for Azeroth. And like like the Emerald Dream is like looks like how Azeroth would look like if no actual life had come there and like cut down woods and built shrines and temples and cities and shit like that. So I'm guessing that's where Gahanir lives, and I really like that. Like this first ever tree brought life and goodness and stuff to every other being that was to live on Azeroth, and using a part of that tree, part of Gahanir, in order to heal others, your allies. I think that's really attractive, having played a Resto Druid for an entire expansion. Uh, ooh, so I think that's really very cool. I think I'm going to be talking for a lot longer than I thought I would be. That's fine. Moving on to Hunters. For Beastmaster, we have Titan Strike, which let's see, a peerless example of techno-magical engineering. The Titan Strike was designed by Keeper Mimiron, a Titanic Watcher and brilliant inventor. I think he's in Ulduar, but I might be wrong. Like anything pre Mr. Pandaria, don't even ask me if it's like World of Warcraft raid stuff because I don't know. Again, know a fair bit of lore, I would say, like possibly more than the average World of Warcraft player, but I don't know everything, and certainly not those stuff. Like, broad strokes, mostly. Securely housed in the heart of the rifle, a relic known as the Thunder Spark powers a Titan Strike, harnessing the essence of storms and focusing it into concentrated blasts of energy. The rifle's power source can also be credited to Mimiron, who devised it for his comrade, Keeper Thorim, in ages past. So, there's a thing in this rifle which shoots electricity. That's essentially it. Like, for the fantasy of a hunter, I mean, like, the Beastmaster was never really focused on the weapon, it's all about the companion you have, your pet. So I guess that's fine, but I still don't really like having a rifle as like an artifact thing for a hunter. I mean, it would be silly to have all bows, but still. Aesthetically, it looks like a rifle. It's well designed, but it looks like a rifle. The second picture here, which is I guess the master thing or a different skin or whatever, looks silly. I'm not gonna lie. I like the base one better. I'm gonna be going through this a bit faster, I think, because still, while it might take it, but like I think that it should take the time that it should take, but I still want to get through it and like finally, you know. Moving on to marksman, we have Thasdora, Legacy of the Windrunners, an actual like a bow that was actually wielded by Alleria Windrunner. So to explain my point previously, like this weapon was only wielded, like it doesn't have any magical powers. It's only famous and it's only an artifact because it was wielded by this really skilled archer. You know, and that's fine. I'm just saying there's a distinct difference between these different weapons. Okay, a proud heirloom of the Windrunner family, Thasdora was carved. It's got a lovely name as well, though. By the way, Thasdora. That's really cool. It's carved from a bough of the mother tree of Eversong Woods shortly after the elven kingdom of Kelthalas was founded. Handed down to the eldest of each generation, the bow was last wielded by the High Elf Ranger Captain Alleria Windrunner. It disappeared along with its owner following the destruction of the Orcs' homeworld Draenor and the subsequent formation of Outland. Maybe this, like how you obtain this bow is like actually going to find Alleria, which would be really cool. Like I don't know a lot about Alleria. I don't know a lot about the Windrunners. I know Sylvanas is one of them. I know one of them married Ronan, who is dead now. Thanks, Garrosh. I know she's alive. I think she's in Dalaran, at least in the story, in the lore. Nothing more to say really about that. Aesthetically, it's a really nicely designed bow. And that's like I'm gonna say that about all of these things, I think, because they all look very pretty, if nothing else. And the master thing, I'm guessing that's the master thing in the picture below. It's very, very, very cool. Very Blood Oath, but very cool. Moving on to survival, we have Talonclaw, Spear of the Wild Gods. Again, we hear about the Wild Gods. This is interesting because like in Vanilla WoW, Melee Hunter, it was Melee Survival Hunter at least, was viable, I think. I don't know, I didn't play, but I've heard that it was viable. And now they've reworked the fantasy of the Survival Hunter and made it purely melee, and I think that's really cool. Having that variation, because if not, it would just be ranged every spec, you know. Let's see. The High Mountain Tauren crafted this spear, which predates the first demonic invasion of Azeroth more than 10,000 years ago. Talonclaw's wielders have fought alongside many guardian animal spirits, also known as ancients, to defend the wolves of Azeroth and its wildlife in particular. Over the millennia, these ancients have bestowed their blessings on the weapon, imbuing it with a portion of their power. So again, we have at least a slightly magical weapon. But I think that's fine. It's like years and years and years of actually deserving this like power, these blessings. I think that's really cool. Aesthetically, I don't know how functional it would be, but it looks very pretty. Like you know, imagine a spear, a base spear. It's a stick with a pointy end, you know, and then you maybe draw out the pointy end a bit more. You make it sort of a blade shape rather than a point necessarily, and then you put spikes on it, on the actual blade. It looks cool. I like it. The master thing, the blade is a wolf's head, and that would never ever work. Assuming that's the top end anyway. Moving on to the mage. I should have brought a glass of water. Jesus. Arcane, we have Aluneth, Great Staff of the Magna. Aluneth was most notably wielded for a time by Egwin, the only female guardian of Tirisfal, although stories indicate that it's far older than she. She is said to have found the staff roughly a century after she took up the mantle of guardian, and to have wielded Alaneth in many battles against the Burning Legion. Several years before relinquishing her title, she retired the staff, but none know where she might have stored it. So we're going on a treasure hunt to find the staff, which I'm fine with. I like that. Again, it's an old and powerful staff wielded by an actual guardian of Tirisfal, which is really cool. My phone buzzed. What does it want? I got a message. But a thing I can't respond to right now because it would take a while. And even I don't want to make that long breaks of silence. That wasn't a sentence. Never mind. Aesthetically, it's like a shorter staff with three. I want to say droplet-looking things, but kind of droplet-looking things. I think they're look like a metal because they sort of look like they have an edge, like a blade edge. And at least in the picture, there is a sort of a spell circle connecting them. So they're like floating in the air, like around the top of the staff itself, which has like a crystal on it, which like elongates the design of the staff itself. It looks very cool. No. Yeah. For the fire spec, we have Fellow Melorn, which means flame strike in its native tongue. Fellow Melorn was born into battle by members of the Sunstrider family, as they proved their valor in the War of the Ancients, during the Troll Wars and against the Death Knight Arthas Menethil. After it was destroyed, Prince Kael'thas Sunstrider reforged the sword to be even stronger and used it against the Lich King, trading several blows with the demonic runeblade Frostmourne. Ultimately, Kael'thas was forced to retreat, and the sword was lost in the frigid wastes of Northrend. So this is a sword that is actually powerful enough to go against Frostmourne, and maybe not come out winning, but at least being equal to it. You know. That's again very cool. It's obviously a very powerful sword. It's very likely imbued with magic as a result. I mean, it was made by blood elves or high elves or whatever. So, like, with their mana addiction, like, oh my god, everything has to be magic, dude. Stuff like that. And it actually looks like there's a flame burning on the sword itself, which is cool. Aesthetically, it is a sword. It's got a curved edge, and it's red. Sort of burning, glowing, hot, whatever. I'm guessing that the Fire Mage is gonna get like an offhand thing because this is still a sword, like a one-handed sword. I'm assuming because mages can't use great swords, you know. But yeah, I don't really play mages, so I can't really say anything about anything of this. For Frost, we have Ebon Chill. This great staff was wielded by Alodi, the first guardian of Tirisfal. He bore the staff into many battles against the Legion forces for the century in which he served as guardian, then stepped down from the role of guardian. But he retained the staff to his dying day. Upon his passing, the Kirin Tor stored the staff safely away for fear of what might happen if a lesser mage attempted to wield its power without the ability to control it fully. So this staff, again, like the arcade staff, it looks sort of like a shorter thing with things floating in front of it. It looks cool. Like, keeping to the Frost fantasy is like ice blocks floating in front of it, and sort of the staff itself has sort of the purple and light blue ice related colors, you know. So that's really neat. I do want to mention that again, we hear that one of these weapons, like the mage weapons, was wielded by a guardian of Tirisfal, much like how the Death Knight weapons were all created by the Legion. Don't know if this was intended by Blizzard or if it was just something that happened or maybe an oversight even. But I'm fine with that. The Guardians of Tirisfal were very powerful. They could do a lot of stuff. Like this is also indicated by how the Kirin Tor actually locked away his staff in like waiting for someone powerful enough to use it, which I guess is the player now that we're level 100. Overall, I'm fine with it. I don't really play mage, I feel like a lot of this like coming stuff is just, I don't play this stuff. I don't really care. I'm not that into it. Which is a bit, dull, but that's how it is. For the Brewmaster Monk, because we're on monks now, we have Fuzan, the Wanderer's Companion. Long ago, as the Titanic Watcher Keeper Freya set out to populate the world with life, she placed one of the first seeds in Pandaria. From it grew Fuzan, the first and all of Pandaria's Fuzan, the first, and all of Pandaria's forests descended from it. Before populating the rest of Azeroth, Freya fashioned a walking stick for her travels from one of Fuzan's branches. Eventually, Freya passed her staff to the jade serpent Yu'lon, who later gave it to a uniquely clever Hosen, the Monkey King as he was called. Hung his most prized possessions from the staff, which he carries with him to this day. Why would Yu'lon give the staff to a Hosen? Because you see, in my experience, Hosen are bad news. Maybe Yu'lon saw something in that Hosen when he was the Monkey King. Yeah, I don't know. Like a Brewmaster to me is while a powerful fighter, drunken boxing, whatever. I guess that's the like the theme for the Brewmaster anyway. Like it's like I drink beer and I punch. I don't really understand why the Brewmaster would need a staff crafted from like the first ever tree in Pandaria, like having like that sort of lore significance. But hey, good on you, Brewmaster players. Good for you. Aesthetically, it's a wooden staff with sort of beads hanging off of it, as well as a mug, a tankard even. And what is that? What is the name of that thing? I don't know. Whatever, moving on. The master thing for this staff, however, I really like because it's actually a small keg hanging from it instead of a tankard. Really like that. Moving on, for the Mistweaver, we have Shailun, Staff of Mists. During the last Pandaren Emperor's reign, I'm pretty sure they missed a "the" in that text. A prophecy arose that a ruthless legion would invade the world of Azeroth and leave it shattered. To save his people, Emperor Xiao Hao embarked on a series of trials, taking with him the ancient staff of Shailun. Afterwards, he used his newfound wisdom to become part of the land. He made Pandaria into a separate continent and enshrouded it in mist to protect it. His staff clattered to the ground where it lay until the monks of the Tian monastery found it and took it to the Terrace of Endless Springs for safekeeping. Yeah, okay. That's just a very old staff used by the last emperor when he was trying to protect, doing his everything to protect Pandaria. I can respect that, and I like it a lot. The staff itself looks, imagine a stick. And this is going to be a general thing when I'm talking about staffs. Imagine a stick. And at the very end of it, there's a round thing. Imagine the monk starting weapon, sort of, but it's perfectly round. And in that round thing, there's a bell. And that's essentially the weapon, There is a cloth hanging from it, I think it's cloth, with writing on it. And it looks cool. But that's essentially it. It's got nice detail. It's got rings and stuff as well. It's just overall very neat. For the Windwalkers, we have the Fists of the Heavens. Thousands of years ago, the famous Tolvir smith Irmat crafted a pair of magnificent handblades. Unsatisfied with his work, Irmat tried to capture the essence of Alakir, the Wind Lord, to infuse into his blades. Alakir was not amused. Despite the smith, Alakir poured unspeakable amounts of raw elemental fury into the handblades. When Irmat attempted to unleash their might, a great vortex sprang up, engulfed his city, and scattered the weapons to the wind. So, I don't know, having elemental fury and elemental power in a fist weapon as this is reminds me more of an elemental shaman than anything else. I'm not sure about this, but they look neat, and I know, well, not the elemental shaman, I mean the enhancement shaman. And since I know that the enhancement shaman actually has Doomhammer, which is way more appropriate than these things, I can be fine with it. It's a Windwalker after all. Alakir makes sense, I guess. I'm gonna move on. It's a fist weapon, so it's essentially a handle with a blade that goes over your fingers and knuckles and stuff. And then there's sort of an out thing, still blade, and within it, between your fingers and the actual metal of the blade of the fist weapon, there's sort of a swirly blue wind thing. Yeah. We're about halfway through, so I'm gonna be talking for a while longer. Just so you're aware. Moving on to the Paladin. For Holy, we have, and get this, the Silver Hand. Excuse me, I have to cough. As one of the Titanic Watchers, Keeper Tyr bore this weapon in countless battles against the Titan's enemies. When one of his fellow keepers, Loken, fell to corruption, Tyr and his allies stole the discs of Norgannon, to investigate the extent of Loken's betrayal. Discovering the theft, Loken sent horrific monsters after Tyr's group, but Tyr sacrificed his life to fight the creatures while his comrades escaped with the discs. His hammer was lost with him somewhere beneath the land now named in his honor. Tyr's fault. Oh shit! How long do they know that was a thing? Because I had no idea. That's really cool. Tyr, it's Tyr's fall. Oh, that's cool. I like stuff like that. Yeah. A hammer wielded by a keeper of the a Titanic Watcher, used to, in the final moments of his life, protect his comrades. A thing like that going to a holy paladin, I think that's fucking perfect. I love that. That's great. Because I think that's what holy paladins are all about. There are three kinds of paladins, quite literally. But the way I see it, there's the retribution paladin, which is sort of the I will deliver unto you holy justice, sort of, like divine justice, stuff like that. Then there's the protection one, which is sort of in the name of the light, I will protect shit by standing in the way of danger and stuff like that, devoutly. And then we have the holy paladin, which is I will stand here and I will make sure that you don't fucking die because I am a paladin. And I think that, yes, that hammer should absolutely go to that kind of paladin. Absolutely. No doubt. Aesthetically, it's a great big fucking hammer. Imagine a staff. No, but seriously. Imagine like a shorter staff, and from the middle onto the edge, the staff sort of turns into a clenched fist, like the forearm or a piece of the forearm and a clenched fist. And to the left and to the right of this fist are like blocks of stone that are like connected to it. And there's like light and shit. It looks very cool. I really like the aesthetic. For protection, we have Truth Guard. The Titanic Watchers Tyr and Arcadis created this shield when their comrade Loken fell to corruption. They gave Truth Guard to a Vrykul champion who used it to expose Loken's treachery. When Tyr and his allies later stole the discs of Norgannon and fled, the champion stayed behind and held off many of Loken's servants. Wait. Does that mean Tyr? Tyr stayed behind? Like, the champion is Tyr, right? No! What the fuck am I doing? It felt like the Vrykul champion is the champion, of course. So Tyr and the champion held off many of Loken's servants, and a desperate Loken sent horrific monsters after Tyr, who fell in combat. In time, the Vrykul champion migrated to Stormheim in the Broken Isles, where the shield was eventually... No clue, because this picture is actually covering the last line. But yes, a shield crafted by Titanic Watchers, used to protect. Again, it fits with what I feel is the protection paladin's fantasy. You know, I am a divine bulwark for the weak. Aesthetically, it's a shield, a very finely decorated shield, which looks really cool. Sort of has this disc that's spinning in it and it's sort of glowing. It's cool. Moving on to Retribution. If you have ever heard of World of Warcraft, you're gonna know what this weapon is, you know? Gonna. It's the Ashbringer. King Magni Bronzebeard forged the Ashbringer from a piece of crystal purified by wielders of the Holy Light. This gave the sword a strange light-bearing powers. It was named for its ability to slaughter undead, leaving nothing but ash in its wake. The Ashbringer passed through several hands, serving both light and shadow, before it came to the legendary paladin Tyrion Fordring, who used it to shatter the Lich King's runeblade Frostmourne on the top of Icecrown Citadel. Tyrion has carried the Ashbringer with him ever since. This is one of those weapons I'm not sure about giving to actual players, because it's such an iconic weapon. Like, I don't understand why Tyrion would ever abandon, excuse me, the Ashbringer to anyone. You know, I do not understand. I don't understand why. Do not. Other than that, it's, you know, you can't really say anything against the Ashbringer. It's the Ashbringer. Like, it is the ultimate, like, same way that Frostmourne is the ultimate Death Knight weapon, the Ashbringer is the ultimate paladin weapon. Like, everyone knows it. You know? There's nothing more to say. I'm not even going to get into the aesthetic of the weapon, because you know what it looks like. It is the Ashbringer. Moving on to more followers of the light, we have the priests. Discipline, we have Light's Wrath. Obsessed with cleansing undead from the world of Azeroth, the fanatical Scarlet Crusade tried to create a second Ashbringer in the form of a staff. However, a Dreadlord who had infiltrated the Order intervened, corrupting their efforts and triggering a violent magical explosion. The damaged staff's power proved nearly uncontrollable. After several wielders tried and failed to use the staff safely, the elite magi of the Kirin Tor hid it away lest it unleash further deadly calamities. This really works, you know? Discipline priests. the entire notion of a disciplined priest, yes, a disciplined priest is discipline. The priest knows exactly what is what, when it is, and why it is. And really only a very, very powerful disciplined priest would ever be able to wield Light's Wrath. You know? And that's what you are if you play a disciplined priest. You are the most powerful disciplined priest on Azeroth. That's the entire fantasy of playing a disciplined priest. Aesthetically, imagine a staff with a round thing on the end, much like the Mistweaver staff. But instead of a bell, it's sort of got crosses and it's got spikes things, and it's just it kind of looks violent, which what was I going with that? It kind of looks violent, which is sort of represented by how the power is uncontrollable and like further the deadly calamities and shit. So I can see that absolutely. For the Holy Priest, we have Ture. I'm gonna say Ture, Beacon of the Naru. As beings of holy light, the benevolent Naru rescued the Draenei from their homeworld after most of its people were transformed into demonic recruits for the Burning Legion. Demons nearly overwhelmed the fleeing Draenei, but the Naru protected the refugees with this beacon crystal. Ture channels the light's essence into healing radiance, regenerating horrific wounds and bringing people back from the brink of death. Ultimately, the crystal was lost to Legion forces on an invaded world. It hasn't been seen since. I feel that this weapon perfectly fits with the fantasy of a holy priest. The holy priest's entire job is to heal for days, you know? And this powerful Naru artifact, the Tura, literally represents that itself. Like pump some light into this thing, and damn, it will show you some healing. You know, I think that that is really cool, and yeah, it's great. For the Shadow Priest, we have Salataf, Blade of the Black Empire. This terrifying dagger was made from the claw of an old god eons ago, and dark priests used it for ritual sacrifices during the height of the Black Empire. After the fall of the old gods, Salatap was hidden away by cults. It has surfaced from time to time over the course of history, inevitably associated with some horrific ritual or disaster. The blade has a will of its own, much like the One Ring. It uses powerful void energies and mind magics to warp everything around it for some nefarious purpose. This really fits with the sort of the revamping of the Shadow Priest in Legion, like the insanity and shit, and I really like it. This is one of my favorite artifact weapons. Because I really hope, because I'm gonna do my best to level up a Shadow Priest for this expansion as well, that the weapon actually whispers things. Because there have been items, at least, I don't know weapons, but items in the past has sort of whispered things to the player. And I really want this dagger to do that. I mean, probably with the ability, like being able to turn it off, like if you have to, or if you're like, whoa, I'm not into that shit, don't do that. But I think that would be a very cool part of this weapon. Aesthetically, imagine a dagger, and then you sort of flip the blade upside down, and then you curve it. So the curve is actually, like the tip of it is actually pointing down. And then it's sort of a guard for your hand, for your fingers on your hand and stuff. Overall, it's very cool. The master thing here, I think I'm still assuming this is the master thing, sort of looks Shah-E if you played Distant Pandaria, or Old God-E or whatever. Like it's infested, which is really cool. Moving on to the Rouge, Rogue, as some might say. We have Assassination. The daggers are called Anguish and Sorrow. The orc warlock Gul'dan had these daggers made for his personal assassin Garona. The blades are said to drink blood and inflict traceless poison, leaving little sign of their grim work. The perfect tools for an assassin. She used them to carry out countless atrocities while under Gul'dan's control, including the murder of Stormwind's king, Lane, whom she had befriended. Afterwards, in anguish, she asked a trusted ally, Meryl Winterstorm, to help her hide the blades away in the hope that they never have to be used again. I'm not sure about these. Not at all. Look at the description. Look at the description. Listen to the description once again. It says to drink blood and inflict traceless poison, leaving little sign of their grim work. Little sign of their grim work. The way I would imagine a dagger like that would be a stiletto. A stiletto dagger. A stabbing. A thing that you stab with, you don't kill with that, you stab it. It's really thin and it's really not very big. You stab it and then you're gone. Done. That's what I would have expected from that sort of description. What the blade looks like is sort of, imagine a meat cleaver. And then you, like, just the blade of a meat cleaver. From the bottom of the meat cleaver, you draw sort of a curved line inwards towards the actual back of the blade, towards the tip of it. Like from the part of the blade that's closest to you to the part of it that's furthest away from you, a curved line. That's the blade itself. The handle is like, no, that's not an assassin-y weapon, you know? That's not a weapon that doesn't leave traces. I'm not... Excuse me, I'm not sure about that. Like, granted, this weapon looks a lot cooler than a stiletto dagger, but with that description and with the fantasy of the assassin spec, the stiletto dagger just makes more sense. Now I'm like, I know that a stiletto dagger isn't very fun. Like, if you play an assassination rogue and you get that stiletto dagger, and you're gonna be like, oh shit, Blizzard, what the fuck? The Retribution Paladin calls Ashbringer, and I get a stiletto dagger? What the fuck is that? That's what I would say. I know that about myself. So, like, I can understand why they would design this monstrosity of a dagger, but, like, it's not an assassination type weapon. Like the master skin for the outlaw spec, it's more like that, you know? More of a rapier thing, but, you know, still. So the outlaw spec, we have the Dreadblades, or as they are called, Fate and Fortune, which I really like. Shortly after the Cataclysm, Admiral Eliza Goreblade discovered a pair of ornately crafted cutlasses inside of a recently unearthed wreck not far from Booty Bay. While the origins of the blades are unclear, their power was not, as Eliza quickly made her name known, pillaging countless ships across the Great Sea. None able to best her in combat. Rumors spread amongst pirates and sailors about the Dreadblades, the most common ones all agreeing that they are cursed and that they should never ever stop. And that if they should ever stop being fed new victims, they'll claim their owner instead. And the Outlaw spec is a renaming and reworked sort of thing for the... I know the name, shut up. Combat spec. And yeah, you know, like the combat rogue is like, it's a pirate. Like, pirates are rogue and they fight with swords, so they're outlaw rogues, you know. And the cutlasses and the shape of the weapon, the cutlass, fits that. I like it. They're really pretty. They're curved swords. I really like curved swords, like aesthetically. I mean, I like straight swords as well, but curved swords are really cool. And it's got like sort of a gold thing, the decoration thing going on. It's really cool. And like, if you've ever seen like a picture of a pirate's cutlass, it's got that handguard as well. Then we have the subtlety. We have Fangs of the Devourer. I'm gonna look that thing real quick. Oh shit, cool. Oh, that's not the master thing on Fate and Fortune, by the way. The master thing looks dope as shit. No, didn't find it. Cool. Whatever. Gorma the Devourer, Sargeras' personal hound, claimed countless lives before it was eventually ambushed and killed on another world long ago. Following the hound's death, Mephistroth had its fangs crafted into two powerful daggers and still carried with them some of the potent withering essence that made Gorma's bite so deadly. These daggers were passed to Akari, one of Sargeras' most deadly assassins, who wields them to this day. So these are daggers crafted from the fangs of a demon hound. A powerful demon hound, mind you. I mean, there's a reason why it was Sargeras' personal hound, you know? Or maybe it was just so adorable. I mean, it's a possibility, you know? Aesthetically, yeah, they look like teeth. They do. And I guess that works. I don't know how much cutting a subtlety rogue would do as compared to stabbing. But I think stabbing would work a lot better with these. Yeah, I'm fine with that. That's cool. That's fine. Going on to the shaman or shaman, depending on your preference. For elemental, we have the Fist of Ra-Den. Amanthul, the High Father, leader of the Titan pantheon. So Odin, I guess. No, Odin's a different character. I know he's an actual person in this world. Whatever. Entrusted his greatest servant, Highkeeper Ra, with this artifact, which could channel the fury of the storms. Ra used it to bestow life on the Titanforge Mogu race, god damn it, and he wielded it in battle against the Black Empire for years beyond counting. Later lost to Ra, the weapon was ultimately recovered by the august celestial Shuen, who saw its immense and dangerous power and chose to safeguard it until someone worthy could take up the weapon in righteous cause once again. Yes, absolutely. No, wait. No, I'm not sure about that, actually. I goofed. Um, because this is a Titan thing. Whereas the elemental weapon, like the elemental shaman, to me is sort of like drawing. Is like the shaman in general is draw power from the elemental planes. If this weapon had been like, it's from the elemental planes, I'd be fine with it. Like, stuff like that. So I'm not quite sure about this. I mean, it's cool that Highkeeper Ra used it and that it was his weapon, but I'm not 100% sure about it. If you know what I mean. Looks cool though. It's a fist weapon. It's sort of like blade, like it's a handle thing that you hold on to, and then it's sort of blades coming out of it. I'm pretty sure you get a shield with it as well, and it looks okay. It's got horns. It's got a little shield thing on it, and it's sort of lightningy. Enhancement, as I mentioned previously, you have the actual Doomhammer. Again, I don't know why Thrall would ever part with the Doomhammer. Like I don't know if it's his best, like one of his mentors and best friend, or is one of his father's best friends, or whatever. Orgrim Doomhammer used his weapon, and it was handed down to Thrall, Goel, whatever. And I can't understand why he would part with it. I can't. Anyway, forged in elemental lava on the orc homeworld of Draenor, this massive hammer is connected deeply with the elements, and its true power is only awakened in the hands of those who can speak to the elements in kind. The Doomhammer was long wielded by Orgrim Doomhammer, one of the greatest orc warriors of the Horde, and now rests with Thrall, one of the most powerful shaman Azeroth has ever known. And yeah, I mean, this is the ultimate shaman weapon. It is the Doomhammer. There's nothing really more to say about it. It's the Doomhammer. Yeah, I mean, like, there's nothing more. Like, Doomhammer is really cool, but I don't understand why Thrall would part with it. You know? Aesthetically, it's the Doomhammer. You know, there's nothing more. For restoration, we have the Scepter of Ashara. That's cool. My voice is getting tired, guys. I should have had a glass of water here. But I want to persevere. A powerful scepter created by Queen Ashara long ago, before her transformation into a Naga. The scepter swirls with waters from the Well of Eternity. It does, it's really cool. Prior to its corruption, granting the scepter great magical and restorative powers. The scepter of Ashara was lost during the War of the Ancients, shortly before Ashara and many of her followers were swallowed by the sea. Taken up by surviving night elves who knew nothing of the power it truly held, it was buried with an unknown priestess in a family tomb in Azuna, waiting to be discovered by someone that could unlock its true potential. And yeah, it's like, imagine a club, like a metal club, but it's hollow towards the end, and it's just a sphere of water just swirling around inside of it. That's like the base look. The shield is similar. Imagine the shield, and then at the top there's it's hollowed out, and there's a swirl of water, and towards the bottom there's also a swirl of water. It looks very, very nice, and since the restoration shaman uses sort of like not holy at all, healing waters, elemental healing waters, to heal. I think that's very fitting. Coming up towards the end, we only got two classes left. I ran through the last couple of classes a lot faster than I thought I was. Like, a lot faster than the first ones. Okay, so for the Affliction Warlock, we have Ulthalesh, the Deadwind Harvester. The first Necrolite to walk the world of Azeroth, Satiel, was given this scythe by the Titan Sargeras himself. It grows in power as it drains souls from its victims. The Harvester earned its name as Satiel methodically drained all life from the hapless inhabitants of Deadwind Pass, creating a potent magical nexus there in the process. Hunting down Satiel, the guardian of Tirisfal turned the scythe on her, sending her soul to join those of her victims. Eventually, the Dark Riders recovered the weapon and secreted it beneath the Tower of Karazhan. And it's a scythe, and I think that there is a skull on the thing. I'm not sure, I can't quite see. So imagine a scythe, and that's it. It's got a bit more of a jagged edge. It's actually got the handle like on it that an actual scythe would have. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of the scythes in this game is just sort of it's a stick with a blade on it. That's not fully what a scythe is. It's a harvesting thing. You cut down plants with it. And this is one of those. Only you harvest souls. So it's only natural that it would have one of those things. It looks really cool. I really like it. It's sort of fiery and burny and sort of very unholy. So we got a spike on the end of it, which is probably used at some point or another. For demonology, we have the skull of the Man Ari. Before the Eredar served the Titan Sargeras, one of their greatest leaders, Thalkiel, had unprecedented skill with summoning and binding magics. Driven by ambition, he reached into the void and was answered with knowledge of dark creatures unlike any the Eredar had seen before. His audacious power Isodash's power grab infuriated the demon lord Archimond, who struck him down, then had his skull gilded and placed on display as a warning. Today, the Dreadlord Mephistroth uses it to enhance his ability to summon and command the demon armies for the Legion. So this skull is actually an Eredar skull. That's weird, especially if you're playing Alliance. Especially if you're in a party with a Draenei. God. So the way this weapon looks, it's not actually something that you hold in your hand. It sort of just hovers in front of your character's face, which is new for Warcraft, but I really quite like it. I'm just hoping that there's gonna be like a bug where every weapon is hovering in front of the player's face, because that would be weird. As far as the weapon fitting with the fantasy, yeah, demonology is all about summoning demons, and if like a Dreadlord actually uses it to summon and command demons, then yeah, you're gonna want it if you're a demonology warlock. It looks like a skull, essentially. Its eyes are sort of burning purple, as skulls do. It's rather cool. The Destruction Warlock, yes, uses the Scepter of Sargeras. Crafted through incredible effort by hundreds of Sargeras' servants, this scepter can rip open dimensional gateways between worlds. It was entombed beneath the sea for centuries, then used by the orc shaman Ner'zhul to open the portals that tore the world of Draenor apart, leaving behind the shattered realm of Outland. The scepter was finally secured by the elite magi of the Kirin Tor. Unable to destroy it, they hid it away in a magically protected chamber and put it under eternal watch to prevent it from ever being used again. Yeah, I like it. Like Destruction Warlock and having a staff that actually tore apart a world, destroying it. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. As far as like opening dimensional gateways between worlds, I'm not sure how that fits with the destruction fantasy, or rather the fantasy of the Destruction Warlock, but I mean, maybe that's just me. I don't know. Aesthetically, looks like a staff with an eye on the end. I've only got the warrior class left, guys. My voice is tired, and I don't know. I'm tired. I'm not gonna apologize. Oh, excuse me. And besides, it's Critical Role night. Can't blame me. Speaking of, Critical Role started last week with the first episode of season 2, quote unquote. So, check that out. Anyway, the Arms Warrior has Stromkar, the Warbreaker. This great sword was born into combat by the barbarian warlord who first united humanity under a single banner, founding the nation of Arathor. A master tactician and strategist, King Thoradin, which by the way is a very dwarven name to me, went on to play a critical role, hey, in ending the Troll Wars. Later, the sword was lost while it was being used to subdue a Cathraxi monstrosity in a forgotten tomb beneath Tirisfal. Abandoned and all but forgotten, Stromkar has been slowly drinking from the shadowy power there over 1,000 years. Over thousands of years, even. Now look. Oh, is that an eye on the blade? No, it was not an eye. I would, if you could just cut out that entire last sentence and it would be perfect, Like, I don't know, like a great sword born into combat by a barbarian warlord who united humanity under a single banner, and he killed that Thraxi monstrosity with it. Like that's when it went missing. But now it has to have shadowy powers as well, and I just think that doesn't have anything to do with an arms warrior. An arms warrior is like give me some steel and I'll fight for you. That's an arms warrior to me, you know. I'm not convinced by that part of it, but like the rest of it, super cool. Blade looks dope. It's one of these, like the one you see once you see in the games and movies, like the great sword was like hard stops. It's just like a rectangle steel that's sharp. That's sort of what it looks like, but with spikes and shit because World of Warcraft. For the Fury spec, we have the War Swords of Valajar. In ages past, the Titanic Waterkeeper Odin, there we have him, betrayed by the sorceress Helia, killing her and twisting her spirit into a spectral Valkyr, he forged this pair of swords for the mightiest of the Stormforged Valajar. But Helia stole the swords and infused them with a portion of her rage. She then gave them to her own champion, who used them to hunt the greatest of heroes and drag their souls away to serve in Helheim. These swords stir their owners into unrelenting and punishing attacks to overcome a target's defenses and leave no opening for counterattacks. That fits. A Fury warrior whose weapons drive them into a sort of a blood rage, like see red, kill everyone sort of rage. That really fits. I really like that. That is completely fine. Aesthetically, the blades are straight, sort of curved downwards with a point, and they're sort of on fire, tiny bit on fire. That's fine. I mean, they're nothing special. Like the one-handed swords in World of Warcraft, I don't think anyway, don't look too cool. I might be wrong. Like, if I'm wrong, send me the name of a cool one-handed sword in the comments below. So I can see it and I can change my mind. Whatever. The Protection Warrior, and this is exciting to me because I played the Protection Warrior all through World of Warcraft. I mean, the pieces of it that I played anyway. I didn't actually do any raiding, but I enjoyed playing the Protection Warrior. What I did. An impenetrable shield crafted from a scale of the Black Dragon aspect Neltharion the Earth Warder before the old god's corruption overcame him. The formidable Reichel King Magnar Icebreaker carried this shield into combat and won victory after victory in the grim face. What the fuck am I doing? I'm tired. My brain is tired. In the face of grim odds. When he finally fell in battle, excuse me, it was due to treachery by servants of the Valkyr Helia. Excuse me again. The shield is now entombed with King Magnar's body in the Path of Kings in Stormheim. And, like, dudes. It's crafted from a scale of the Black Dragon aspect of Neltharion the Earth Warder. That shit is never gonna break. I just think that is so very cool, you know? Like the dragon aspect that became Deathwing, the Sunderer, I think he's called. And you're actually wielding a part of him to protect yourself. Like, nothing is gonna break that. That is an indestructible fucking shield right there. That is so cool. Aesthetically, like the base thing, it's a shield. Like I feel like the warrior class, like, again, like, give me some steel and I'll fight for you. That was not consistent. Whatever. Like, they don't really need extravagant weapons. Just give them a weapon. Give them a shield and a sword if they're into tanking. Like, keep it plain, keep it simple, keep it cool. I just kind of keep it plain, simple. Make it functional. That's it. Now, players might want some cool shit, but that's a different story. And like, I really think that the plain look to it, even though that it's the scale of Neltharion, is fine. fine. Super cool. So that's what I feel about these. If you disagree with me, like, no, that totally fits with that class and spec, you're wrong. Or you feel like, no, that doesn't fit at all. Why would you say that? Oh my god. But let me know in the comments below. You know, do it. I really want to know. But yeah, that's all for me for now. If you like this video, leave a like. It will make me happy on the inside. Make me feel all warm and fuzzy. If you want more of this stuff, like not necessarily me talking about World of Warcraft weapons for an hour and a half, an hour 40, whatever, but like just me talking about whatever, maybe having a guest on, then hit the subscribe button. Uh, that would be super swell of you. I would love that to happen. Or if you don't want to subscribe, but you still want more, and the situation is weird to me, like you want more but you don't want to subscribe, you can follow me on the Twitters, the Tweetsters, the Twitter, on the handle at BreadRamLive. I might get into why it's called that at some point in the future. Right now, it's way too late and my voice is tired. But yeah, BreadRamLive, you can find me there. I tweet shit sometimes. And I send out a tweet whenever I upload a new video. If you want more of me, but not maybe on this channel, maybe with someone else, go over to the YouTube channel called Raw Chili Gamer, or Raw Chili Gamers, whatever. It's on the URL Raw Chili Gamer anyway, I think. Where I and a friend of mine make videos. We are working on one right now. It might be it should all be recorded. It just needs editing, and I think that might be done this weekend. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say anything. No confirmations on that. We got some other stuff going on around that general area. No schedule, just we make videos and then we put them up. Hey. As well as, we have a podcast on there as well called Another Very Generic Podcast, which I think is fabulous. Where we talk about generally video games. So check that out if you wanna. Hit that subscribe button over there as well. That would be super swell of you, because I would love to see that channel grow. And you can follow that channel / my friend on Twitter, on the URL, not the URL, the handle at RawChiliGamer. I'm getting messages again. I'm almost done, so I can almost check them. Check that out. And there was something else. I'm so sure it was something else. I forget. It's fine. So yeah, that was what I think about the artifact weapons in a long way, especially the first couple of ones. But yeah, I'll figure out a new thing to talk about for next time. And until then, guys, have a nice week.